Hello,
Hi.
and welcome to Cliff Alerts. Today we're going to be talking about O Network's reality-based TV series, Put a Ring on It, Season 3, Episode number 9.
And today we will be focusing on Shay and Alfonzo. But before we get into it, we'd like to ask you to share, subscribe, like, hit that notification button, and we appreciate you for doing that. So let's get into Shay and Alfonzo. We see them at Dr. Nicole's office, and she's letting them know that they're both going on dates that week. Shay would go out with brother Shadid.
Shadid, aka Silver.
Right, he was a DJ. And Alfonso will go out with Miss Tanisha. So we see Shay and Alfonso is getting dressed, and Shay's talking to him. She says she sees improvement in him, and as a result she wants to change as well. So when Tanisha comes to the door, Shay invites her in without drama. She did not accost her at the door, didn't talk some stuff.
No threats.
Didn't threaten her. Yeah. She didn't bring out some grease or hot water or whatever. And that was a blessing.
No question. Progress for Miss Shay, boy.
Even Alfonso said that as long as Shay keeps her hands to herself.
Don't put no hands on that woman, on that guest in their house. Everything will be cool.
Everything will be cool.
Yeah.
Because you gotta, at this point, check your insurance just to see if visitors are covered.
Well, never know what Miss Shay, boy. Miss Shay
Never
already set, boy, to show these.
So Shay sat Tanisha down, and Mr. Tanisha, as pretty as she wants to be, but she is dressed in really a provocative outfit, and Shay tells her the rules of engagement. No texting, no touching, no sliding into anyone's DMs, and when she calls, he has to pick up that phone.
Better answer that cell phone call, bro. Don't act up.
So they left the house without incident. Praise our Jesus.
Yeah, but you know what though? Let me just say this. I didn't think she needed to do that part of it, Miss Shay, but because it kind of gets into something that Dr. Nicole said to Shay specifically, like, let your partner or trust your partner to
write his own story,
to write his own narrative with the pen in his hand, and not have you write it for him.
Right.
And while I think she's getting better at that, she's still got a ways to go. But I give her credit. I give her props for the progress that she has seemingly made, for sure.
But did you see that when she said, hey, when Dr. Nicole was checking her, she said, hey, I was making baby steps. And Dr. Nicole said, no, I didn't say baby steps. I said steps.
Exactly.
And you gotta behave to be able to step back.
Yes.
And let Alfonso write the story, and hopefully that story will include you in this whole exercise and scenario.
Absolutely. I think
that was on point.
Yeah, I think it was right on point, and I think that she's learning to do that, and I got to tip my hat to her on that, because that's not where she started from. Damn sure ain't where she started from, y'all.
So they go to a sushi place, and they had a chef showing them how to make sushi, and they talked about themselves. We find out Tanisha has a 1-year-old.
Right,
and
daughter.
She's getting ready to turn 34 years old.
Sure.
And Alfonso mentions the issue he's having with Shay at the house regarding the family situation. And Tanisha says in her confessional that if he has problems with Shay, he can bring that over to her house.
A little premature.
So we see the level of Miss Tanisha's thirst, and we just gonna leave that there.
Yeah, she just met the brother, and she's already plotting and planning, it seems like, already. And I'm like, nah, it's way too soon for that. She don't know enough.
She doesn't know about brother Alfonso.
Exactly.
Slipping, dipping, and sliding. He may be too much for her mental health. But we shall see.
Yep.
Then we see Shay on her date with
Shadid,
aka
Silver.
And Silver is the DJ, but Silver had a good vibe about him, and he too has a 1-year-old.
Yes, he does.
And Shay looked good, and they were talking to each other. It seemed like a natural conversation.
Yes.
And Shay brought up the situation she has with Alfonso as it relates to not introducing her as his woman to his mother and the mother of his children.
Right.
And Silver broke it down to her that Alfonso may not be operating in a righteous way, so to speak.
Yeah, it just seems like he was keeping it 100 just based on the question and or topic of conversation that he and Shay were having about what he would do if in that situation,
right,
where he had to make sure that all parties were on the same page, that they were moving in the same direction in an effort to make things as easy as possible for the child. Absolutely. But also make sure that the adults understand their roles, what position that they play in the scenario. Right, and the boundaries, that's correct.
And one thing he said was that the guys are simple for the most part. I captured that as code as men don't like a whole lot of drama in their house. So he is saying that if Alfonso didn't take the time to break down the role situation and the change of one romantic attitude from one woman to the other, he was in essence playing games.
Yeah, and I don't think that Fonzo, when hearing about that later on, took too kindly to that, but he was keeping it 100, and I agree with him, and it was a mature stance from what I gathered, and it was refreshing because a lot of guys, there are a lot of guys that wouldn't necessarily be that candid or that forthright up front.
Right.
Right there.
It was just refreshing to see Shay experiencing a healthy man energy, so to speak. That he was kind enough to express himself clearly, that she understands what usually happens and what Alfonso is doing.
Yeah, in a reasonable manner.
Right.
And that's okay to expect that.
Exactly.
I mean, because obviously she hasn't been accustomed to being on the receiving end as it relates to, Alfonso's activities and the way that he moves. But there are people who do that.
Right. So that's why I said it was good for her to experience that positive man energy.
So she understands that there are people who do that.
Exactly.
Yeah, I get it.
Say that, okay, the brother is out there.
Yeah. For her to acknowledge that is a good thing. And,
absolutely.
And, it kind of expands her horizons a bit and lets Alfonso know, hey, man, you better tighten up.
Yeah.
You better tighten up because there are people...
More and more awareness.
Right.
Later on, they meet at Dr. Nicole's office. And as we said earlier, Dr. Nicole had to check Shay about her giving the Tanisha different rules as it was to her dating her man. One thing was clear is that Shay is getting clearer and clearer understanding of what it will feel like if Alfonso behaved in the correct way rather than what he's doing now. She knows that she clearly has some work to do,
but she's got to step back and let him shoulder that responsibility himself and be okay with whatever choices that he makes as it relates to how he moves, and being comfortable enough to say, hey, look, if he doesn't move the way that is respectful of me or in consideration of my feelings and thoughts and all that, then maybe I should move in another direction.
And I particularly like that Shay said that he's dealing with other people, so it will take some time for other people to be able to change over to what they want. So this is not going to happen overnight.
Yeah.
But it's a consistent beating of the drum and that alignment of boundaries that will help her to become and feel more secure with what Alfonso is giving her.
She's trusting the process that she and Alfonso are going through based on all the words of encouragement and or advice that Dr. Nicole has given her, and it seems like she's beginning to see the benefits of doing such.
That's all we have. Thank you for sitting with us and giving us the opportunity to share our thoughts with you. Thank you for liking, subscribing, and sharing. Click that notification button so you know when we upload new videos. And thank you for being who you guys are. We appreciate you.
No question.
We'll see you in the next bit.
For sure.
Bye-bye.
Bye.